First three stages of the pattern are shown below. Each stage is made up of a certain number of shaded discs and a certain number of white discs. So if we now look at our fourth stage is going to have 4 black discs, because the first one had 1, the next one had 2, and the third one had 3. The fourth one is going to have 4. And if we look a little bit closer at the pattern, every single pattern has 3 white ones on the end. That never changes. So each one has 3 white ones added on at the end. And then if we also look, we can see that every single pattern, for every black one, there's a white above and below it for every single one of them. So now if we're going to complete this table to show the number of white discs, well, there's 1 black disc in that one. So then we're going to have 2 white ones for that, plus the original 3. Then for this one, which is the number of shaded discs is 2, we're going to have 4 plus 3 is equal to 7 discs total. This we're going to have 3 black discs, so that's 3 times 2 is 6, plus 3 is 9 white discs. This one is 4, so it's 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11 discs. This one is going to be 5 times 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13 white discs. And this one is 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 is 15 white discs. The question then says, in a particular stage of the pattern, there's 21 white discs. How many shaded discs are there in this stage of the pattern? Well, we can look at it like this, where we can say that we know that there's going to be 21 total. So if we take that 21 total and subtract the 3 that there's going to be at the end, we're left with 18. And there's always half the amount of black discs for that, so that's 18 divided by 2 gives us 9 black discs. We could also figure it out by saying, well, if there's 6 and 15 in the 6th pattern, then there will be 7 and 17, 8 and 19, 9 and 21. So it's the 9th pattern for 9 black discs. Now, the next thing that's really important for us to cop is when we look at this question, between 5 and 7, there's an increase of 2, 7 and 9, there's an increase of 2, 9 and 11, there's an increase of 2. So every time it increases by 2 for this pattern, okay? So now we want to write down the relation between the number of shaded discs and the number of white discs. So first thing we could say is that there are n black discs, because it starts at 1 and it goes up in ones each time, so there's n black discs. Then the number of white discs can be represented, well, there's always twice the amount of white discs as black ones, plus another 3. So n is our black, and 2n plus 3 is our white. Then, oops, that should actually just be an n plus 3, my apologies. And it should be 2n plus 3 for the total number of discs. So that's the total number. Next question up has us looking at first differences and second differences. So the first pattern goes 2, 4, 9, 17, 28. So the difference between 2 and 4 is that it increased by 2. 4 and 9, it increases by 5. 9 and 17, it'll increase by 8. 17 and 28, it'll increase by 11. Then we look at the second differences. The difference between 2 and 5 is 3, and the difference between 5 and 8 is 3 as well. So we can see that the second difference is completely the same here each time. It's 3 every single time. Now we look at the next pattern. It goes minus 1, 2, 5, 8, and 11. So minus 1 to 2, that's an increase of positive 3. 2 to 5 is an increase of 3. 5 to 8 is an increase of 3. And 8 to 11 is an increase of 3. And the second difference is, well, there's no difference because the first difference was constant. So state whether each pattern is linear or quadratic. Well, the first one is going to be quadratic. And the reason it's quadratic is because it has second difference always the same. So second difference is constant. And our next one, pattern 2, that was linear. And the reason it's linear is because the first difference is constant. Our next question involves a raffle. So in a raffle, there's a choice of 3 different prizes, prize A, B, or C. The winner of the raffle chooses one prize. The winner gets some money each day for 6 days. She gets €10 on day 1, €15 on day 2, and so on until day 6. Each day after day one, they get €5 more than the day before. Complete the table below. Well, first day they got a tenner, next day they got 15, next day after that they're going to get 20, then they'll get 25, then they'll get 30, and finally they'll get 35. What kind of sequence is made by the daily amounts that the winner gets for prize A? Give a reason for your answer. Well, that's linear, and the reason that's linear we can show here. Difference between 10 and 15 is plus 5, 15 and 20 is plus 5, 20 and 25 is plus 5. Every time it increases by the exact same amount. So that's a first difference is constant. Find the total amount of money the winner will get if they choose prize A. So let's see, the winner gets some money each day for 6 days. So that must mean they bring home 10 the first day, 15 the next. Alright, so it's the same person winning the same amount. So we have 10 plus 15 plus 20 plus 25 plus 30 plus 35. Well, the handy way of doing this type of question would be to add the 10, 20 and the 30 first. Add them together, you get 60. And then we have 15 and 25 will give us 40. And then we have to add 35 to that as well. So that's 40 and 35 is 75. So we have 75 and 60. Well, 7 and 6 is 13. So that'd be €135 altogether. Obviously, you could just add them all together in your calculator as well. I just did it a bit awkwardly. Okay, then for prize B, the winner gets €2 on day 1, €4 on day 2, until day 6. Each day after day 1, they get twice as much as what they got the day before. Okay, so we go €2 to €4. Twice that will be €8. Twice 16 will be 32. And twice 32 will be 64. So what kind of sequence is made by the daily amounts the winner gets in prize B? Well, this is going to be a bit different. So we have to look at the first differences first of all. Let's see what it is. So the difference between 2 and 4 is €2. Difference between 4 and 8 is €4. Difference between 8 and 16 is €8. Difference between 16 and 32 is 16. Difference between 32 and 64 is 32. Then we look at the second differences. And the second difference, so the difference between 2 and 4 is 2. Difference between 4 and 8 is 4. Difference between 8 and 16 is 8. Difference between 16 and 32 is 16. So the first difference is not the same. Second difference is not the same. So that is exponential. And a reason, first and second difference, not constant. Okay, for prize C, the winner gets a single prize of €100 on day 1. Alexa wins the raffle. Which prize do you think Alexa should choose? Prize A, B, or C? And then give a reason for your answer. So let's have a look. So if they win day 1, they walk away with €135. If they win day 2, they walk away with 64 and 32. That brings to 96. And then another 16 brings to 112. 120, 126, which is slightly less than prize 1, so prize A. So it's just the most money. Reason, walk away with the most money. Don't need any fancier reason than that. Okay, final question of the day. A sheet is folded in half a number of times. After one fold, there are 2 layers. After 2 folds, there are 8 layers. After 3 folds, there are 8 layers, and so on. So first off, probably tells us to fill out the table. Sure enough, it does. So it goes 2, 4, 8. Well, there's going to be double that, there'll be 16. There'll be double that, there'll be 32. Double that, will be 64. We just use a slightly smaller font for that. Make it look a bit neater. It looks better. Okay, work out the least number of folds that we needed to have more than 500 layers. So let me think, what would be the handiest way of working that out? Probably the handiest way is just to literally keep going up. So we have 6 gives us 64, 7 will give us 128, 8 will give us 256, so then 9 will have over 500, so that'll be 512, so 9 folds. There's definitely fancier ways of doing that, but I think that's probably the handiest. Put a tick in the correct box to show what kind of pattern is made by the number of layers. Tick one box and then justify your answer. So let's have a look. So the number of layers, each time Similar to the previous question, let's look and see. So difference between 2 and 4 is 2, 4 and 8 is 4, 8 and 16 is 8, 16 and 32 is 16, and 32 and 64 is 6 that. So first difference, not constant. Next up, second difference. Difference 2, difference 4, difference of 8, difference of 16. Not constant either. So we're looking at exponential. So justification, first and second difference, not equal. They're not constant, better way of phrasing it. So after a certain number of folds, there are roughly 1 million layers. Roughly how many layers will there be after 3 more folds? That's a nice awkward one. After a certain number of folds, there are roughly 1 million layers. Roughly how many layers will there be after 3 more folds? So each time it just doubles. So if there's roughly 1 million, so roughly 1 mil, well, the next fold will be roughly 2 million. Next one after that will be roughly 4 million. And how many more folds? 3 more folds. So that's 1 more, 2 more, 8 million will be 3 more folds. So, oops, not 8 millions. 8 million folds, roughly. Doesn't ask you any more accurate than that, so no need to be. And that's our questions from the previous day.